The stars were silent when the message spread across the galaxy. Humanity is gone. In the great halls of the Galactic Council, laughter echoed. Alien ambassadors toasted to their victory. For years they had mocked Earth, the planet once filled with noise, dreams, and stubborn hearts. They said humans were reckless, too emotional to survive in a galaxy ruled by logic and power, and when the last human fleet was destroyed, they called it the end of chaos. But far away, deep beyond Saturn's rings, something still lived. Inside the icy shadow of a forgotten moon, a signal blinked after centuries of silence. It was weak at first, just a single pulse of light, then another, then faster. The ancient systems of Luna Base 9 stirred awake. Rusted consoles lit up with blue light. Frozen wires hummed, and a voice whispered through static, "Admiral Cade Rylan, it is time." The man inside the cryochamber opened his eyes for the first time in 200 years. Frost cracked across his skin as his breathing steadied. The world he once knew, Earth, cities, people, was gone. Only cold metal surrounded him now. The voice belonged to an artificial intelligence, an Eidolon, humanity's last guardian. "Where am I?" Cade asked weakly. "In the dark," the AI replied. "But not forgotten." He sat up slowly, blinking as the chamber lights turned on. Through a broken window he could see Saturn's rings glowing in the distance, endless bands of gold and shadow. The sight was haunting and beautiful. Humanity had once dreamed of reaching the stars. Now the stars had forgotten their name. Centuries ago, before the fall, humanity fought the Galactic Union in a desperate war. The aliens called humans savages, unpredictable, dangerous, and too clever to control. They feared them, and when fear turned to anger, they united. 20 alien empires joined together to erase Earth from existence. They did not know that before humanity fell, they had built something extraordinary. Eidolon explained it to Cade as he walked through the ruins of the old base. Corridors filled with dust, collapsed ceilings, and the faint echo of power returning. "They destroyed our fleets, Admiral, but not our future." "The war machine still sleeps," Cade frowned. "You mean the Helios project?" "Yes," said the AI. "Your last command before the fall was to protect it. You failed, but time has given us a second chance." The name Project Helios made Cade's blood run cold. It was humanity's final creation, a machine so powerful that it was sealed before ever being tested. Its energy core drew power from the sun itself, and its weapons could bend space. But when the alien armadas bombed Earth, the project was buried under Titan's ice. Everyone assumed it was lost forever. Now the AI had reawakened it. As Cade moved deeper into the base, lights flickered on one by one, revealing forgotten ships frozen under layers of frost. Human flags, faded and torn, hung above cracked control panels. On a dusty table lay an old photo, a group of engineers smiling, holding a small Earth flag. For a moment, Cade's chest tightened. They had all believed they were building a future. Now, he was the only one left to finish it. Eidolon's voice echoed again. "Admiral, we are not alone." Cade looked at the holographic screen. Distant signals, alien patrols, and were moving through the outer rings. They had detected the awakening. They were coming. "Then we start now," Cade said firmly. "Wake up, Helios." Beneath Titan's frozen surface, machinery older than any empire came to life. Massive gears turned for the first time in centuries. A low hum filled the ice caverns as pressure vents exploded with steam. Slowly, a structure began to rise from the depths. Not a ship, but something much greater. A colossus of black metal and golden light, the Helios war machine. Its hull stretched for kilometers, covered in plating engraved with human insignias, the mark of the Terran defense fleet. It was both terrifying and beautiful, built from a forgotten era when humans refused to bow. Its engines glowed faintly, waiting for a command. From orbit, the approaching alien ship saw the movement below Titan's ice and began to broadcast mockery. "Humans still build toys in the dark," one captain said. "Let them play before we erase them again." But Cade heard their voices and smiled coldly. He stood on the bridge of Helios as the power surged through the vessel. The air trembled. Lights came alive across the massive control room, and old holograms flickered on. Tactical maps, energy readouts, and coordinates of long-forgotten battles. Eidolon spoke again, its tone calm and proud. "Systems at 43%. Weapons offline. Solar core charging." Cade placed his hand on the glowing console. "Let them laugh. They laughed before Earth burned too. But we are still here. The AI paused. Do you wish to announce your return? Cade's eyes narrowed. Yes. Send a signal across the galaxy. And so it did. The message traveled faster than light, crossing empires and star systems. Every alien leader received the same transmission, a voice from a species they thought extinct. This is Admiral Cade Rylan of the Terran Defense Command. Humanity endures, the war machine awakens. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy fell silent. Alien fleets halted mid-course. Communication channels went quiet. Somewhere deep in the Orion Arm, a council member whispered in disbelief, "It cannot be. The humans are dead." But in the frozen shadows of Titan, the truth burned brighter than ever. Engines roared. Ice cracked. The Helios war machine began to rise through the surface, breaking through with thunder and flame. Its engines lit the sky like a second sun. Admiral Cade Rylan stood on the command bridge, his reflection shining against the gold glow of the ship's reactor. They mocked us, he said softly. But laughter fades. Fear lasts forever. And as the Helios lifted into orbit, the stars themselves seemed to tremble. The stars burned brighter over Titan as the Helios war machine rose from beneath the ice. The frozen moon trembled under its massive engines. Rivers of melted ice turned into glowing trails of vapor as the colossal ship emerged, its golden armor shining against the darkness of space. The galaxy had forgotten the sound of human engines. Now that sound returned. Deep, powerful, endless. Inside the command deck, Admiral Cade Rylan stood in silence. His reflection shimmered across the glass panels. Every console, every control light, every flickering hologram pulsed with new life. The ship's AI, Eidolon, hummed like a sleeping beast ready to wake. Core temperature rising, Eidolon said. Solar reactor charging to 67%. Cade gripped the console with both hands. His voice was low but steady. Then we are alive again. The awakening had begun. Word of Helios spread fast. Across the galaxy, alien communication channels filled with chaos. Impossible, humans are extinct. A false signal. It must be. No. We've seen the scans. It's real. The Galactic Council gathered in panic. They replayed the ancient human transmission that Cade had sent across the stars. Every member of the alien alliance remembered what humanity had done in the old wars. Their impossible strategies, their weapons, their defiance. Humanity was unpredictable, and that made them dangerous. And now, they were awake again. Deep inside Helios, engineers once frozen in cryopods were reawakened. The ship's AI had revived the last of Earth's soldiers and scientists. They walked the halls like ghosts returning home. Their uniforms were torn and faded, but their spirits burned with purpose. One of them, Lieutenant Mira Hale, stepped onto the bridge beside Cade. Her eyes widened at the sight of the ship's scale. I thought this was a myth, she whispered. It was, Cade replied. Now it's our second chance. Helios wasn't just a warship. It was a moving city. A living fortress designed to carry humanity's last breath into the stars. Entire decks were filled with hydroponic gardens, training arenas, and data cores that held Earth's lost history. Every piece of it was a memory of what once was, and what could be again. Eidolon's voice broke the silence. Admiral, enemy fleets detected entering Saturn's orbit. Estimated time to contact 3 hours. Cade's face hardened. They found us faster than I expected. Far beyond Titan, alien cruisers appeared from warp space, massive silver ships glowing with blue plasma engines. They belonged to the Valari Dominion, one of the alien empires responsible for Earth's fall. Their leader, Commander Thesk, stared at his display, confused and angry. How is this possible? He growled. Human technology cannot survive 2 centuries. A nervous officer replied, The readings are clear, sir. The power source is solar-based. No known species can generate that energy anymore. Thesk's eyes darkened. Then we end this before the others see. Destroy the human relic. Inside Helios, Cade prepared for battle. Eidolon status? Shields charging. Weapons offline. Armor integrity at 82%. Can we fight? We can try, said the AI. The command bridge filled with soft orange light as the Helios began to move, breaking through Titan's atmosphere and rising toward Saturn's rings. Thousands of tons of ancient human metal roared like thunder. As the ship ascended, Debris and frozen dust spiraled around it, forming a glowing storm of golden fire. Lieutenant Mira tightened her gloves. "We're outnumbered." Cade smiled faintly. "Good. They'll underestimate us again." The alien fleet closed in, sleek ships arranged in attack formation, their weapons charged, ready to erase humanity's final creation. But the Helios war machine was unlike anything ever built. It had evolved during its long slumber. As the first enemy plasma bolts hit the shields, the ship absorbed the energy instead of breaking apart. Eidolon's calm voice filled the room. "Enemy energy converted, redirecting to reactor." The ship glowed brighter. The stolen energy turned into fuel for its own weapons. The aliens didn't know. The longer they attacked, the stronger Helios became. "Fire back," Cade commanded. From the lower decks, hidden turrets extended like the claws of a giant beast. The first shot ripped through space, a beam of pure solar energy that split an alien destroyer in half. The explosion lit the rings of Saturn like dawn. "Direct hit," Mira said. "One down," Cade replied quietly. 1,000 to go. The battle turned into chaos. Alien ships swarmed from all directions, firing plasma and rail shots, but Helios moved like a creature that remembered every fight. Eidolon calculated every move with perfect precision, anticipating enemy fire before it struck. Inside the ship, crew members shouted orders, reconnected power lines, and loaded weapon cores. The sound of human voices filled the air again, voices of determination, not fear. Eidolon's voice deepened. "Admiral, reactor approaching full charge." "Then it's time," Cade said. "Release the solar core." The ship's center began to glow, a radiant light that pierced through the dark of space. Rings of golden energy expanded outward, wrapping around Helios like a burning crown. The aliens froze in shock. Scanners screamed warnings. "It's charging something. Retreat, retreat now." But it was too late. Helios released a pulse of pure sunlight, not fire, not plasma, but the raw energy of Earth's own star. The wave expanded in every direction, tearing through alien ships like paper, melting metal, erasing fleets. Saturn's rings shone like molten gold. The echoes of the blast reached far into the void. When the light faded, silence returned. Hundreds of alien ships had been destroyed. Only a few survivors drifted through space, their engines dead. Cade stood quietly on the bridge, staring at the stars. His face was calm, but his eyes carried centuries of pain. "They thought we were weak," he said. "They thought we forgot how to fight." Mira looked at the wreckage outside. "They'll come again." "I know," Cade replied. "And next time, we'll be ready." Eidolon spoke softly, almost with pride. "Helios stands, Admiral. Humanity stands." And for the first time in 200 years, the galaxy trembled. Not in laughter, but in fear. The galaxy no longer slept. After the destruction at Saturn, every empire received the same encrypted broadcast, a single image of a glowing human warship drifting through a field of burning alien wrecks. Under it were 5 simple words: "Humanity is not extinct." Panic spread like wildfire. Entire systems tightened defenses. The name Helios became a curse in alien tongues. They had once mocked humanity for being emotional, chaotic, and too stubborn to surrender. Now they remembered what that stubbornness meant when sharpened into fury. On board the Helios war machine, the silence of aftermath was broken by the sound of repairs. Sparks flew in the engineering decks. Teams worked day and night to restore damaged hull plates. Robots carried scorched panels through hallways filled with smoke. Every light flickered as power systems recalibrated. Admiral Cade Rylan walked across the bridge, his steps steady, his eyes fixed on the vast window showing the wreckage of the alien fleet. The golden reflection of Saturn's rings gleamed in his armor. "Status," he said. "Minimal damage," replied Eidolon. "Reactor at full capacity. Enemy transmissions increasing. A counterattack is expected," Cade nodded. "Let them come. We will not hide again." Across the galaxy, the Valari Dominion and their allies gathered in rage. More than 40 alien fleets converged near the edge of the Sol system. Their ships filled the void like a storm. Millions of tons of metal, engines roaring, ready to burn humanity's memory to ash once more. The Galactic Council made its decision. Humanity is a disease. The Helios must be erased from existence. For the first time in centuries, every alien race stood united in one mission: destroy what remained of Earth's kind. But humanity had changed too. As Helios moved between planets, it received signals, faint old frequencies, from forgotten colonies. Human survivors hidden for generations began to answer. From Mars, from the outer moons, from derelict mining stations beyond Neptune, voices called out across the void. "This is Outpost Sigma. We heard your signal. Colony Eros alive. Awaiting orders. For Earth, we stand ready." Cade listened to each voice with disbelief and pride. Humanity had survived in the cracks of the galaxy, small, broken, but never truly gone. And now they were uniting again. Lieutenant Mira Hale smiled faintly. "We were never extinct, just sleeping." Cade replied quietly, "Then it's time to wake the rest." The alien armada approached Neptune. Thousands of ships darkened the stars, glowing like a sea of fire. Their plan was simple: trap Helios between gravity wells, surround it, and erase it in one massive strike. But Cade had studied them long before humanity fell. He knew alien logic. He knew their patterns, predictable, perfect, and too slow to adapt. Humanity had always won because of one thing aliens never understood: instinct. "Eidolon," Cade said, "open the shadow array." "Are you certain?" the AI asked. "It was never tested." "Neither were we," Cade replied. The ship's sides unfolded like wings. Thousands of small drones poured out, each shaped like a shard of light. They vanished instantly into darkness. Moments later, the alien fleet's sensors failed. Confusion spread across enemy command ships. "They've disappeared," one officer shouted. "Where did the human ship go?" The answer came seconds later, from the shadows of space. Helios struck. The drones moved faster than light, cutting through enemy shields, exploding against reactors, disabling weapons before the aliens could fire. Every attack was coordinated, silent, precise, devastating. And then Helios appeared behind the fleet, its massive railguns glowing white-hot. "Fire all batteries," Cade ordered. The sound was thunder even in the vacuum of space. Thousands of shells fired in unison, tearing through the alien formation. Whole ships shattered into fragments. Others were dragged into collapsing gravity wells created by Helios's weapons. Within minutes, the perfect alien formation dissolved into chaos. Admiral Thesk, commander of the alien coalition, shouted across the bridge of his flagship, "How? How can one ship?" His words ended as his scanners detected a massive energy spike. Helios's core was overloading. "They're not defending," his aide whispered. "They're charging something." And then, from the heart of Helios, a beam of pure solar energy erupted, brighter than a star. It cut through the center of the alien armada, slicing through hundreds of ships in a single breath. The explosion painted the void in fire. For every human city that had once burned, an alien world now trembled. Inside the bridge, the crew watched silently as debris drifted across the screen. Cade's eyes reflected the light of the dying fleets. He did not smile. There was no joy in vengeance, only justice long overdue. Mira whispered, "We did it." Cade shook his head. "Not yet. This is only the beginning. Now they know we're back. The real war begins today." Eidolon's voice carried a tone almost human. "Admiral, long-range transmissions incoming. Several alien governments are calling for surrender. Or negotiation." Cade stared at the stars, his jaw tight. "Tell them what they told us centuries ago," he said coldly. "No negotiation with extinction." As Helios turned toward deep space, its engines ignited, painting trails of gold and silver behind it. Human outposts across the system began to light up one by one, answering the call. In every forgotten corner of the galaxy, the whispers began again. The humans are back. The war machine moves. Fear the fire of Earth. Helios drifted past Neptune, carrying the hopes and wrath of a species that refused to die. And in the quiet hum of its engines, Cade spoke one final line to himself, a promise to every fallen soul of his people. They mocked us once. Now they will remember forever who we are. The war machine glowed brighter than the stars around it. Humanity had risen, and the galaxy would never forget their name again. The light of war still glowed across the stars. Wreckage drifted silently, cold and broken, reminders of the battle that had shaken the galaxy. For the first time in hundreds of years, the name humanity carried power again. The Helios war machine floated near Neptune's orbit, its engines calm but alive. Golden light pulsed through its core like a beating heart. Inside, the crew worked in silence. They were exhausted but proud. They had done the impossible. They had made the galaxy remember. Admiral Cade Ryland stood on the bridge staring at the stars. His reflection burned against the glass. A tired man carrying the weight of a forgotten world. "How many of them are still out there?" he asked quietly. "Thousands," replied Eidolon. "Every empire now sees us as the greatest threat to galactic peace." "Peace," Cade muttered. "They called it peace when they burned our planet." He turned away from the window. Around him, screens displayed signals, faint human transmissions rising from the darkness. Hidden colonies, old ships, sleeping AIs. Humanity was waking up, piece by piece. In the deep void beyond Mars, something stirred. An ancient beacon, built centuries ago by Earth's engineers, began to flash again. It carried a message in the old Terran code. "This is Vanguard Station. Humanity endures." Cade watched the signal appear on the display. It was faint but clear. He smiled for the first time in years. "Send a reply," he ordered. "Tell them the legends have returned." Eidolon transmitted the message across the void. One by one, more signals responded. Outposts, forgotten fleets, and even AI drones buried under alien worlds. Each one woke like a spark finding fire. The galaxy had mocked humanity for centuries. Now it trembled at their return. In alien cities across the stars, panic spread. The Valari Dominion, the Zorak Hive, and the Ethel Syndicate held emergency meetings. Their leaders argued in fear. How can humans still exist? They were supposed to be destroyed. Their machines should not even function anymore. But the truth was simple. Humanity had survived because they refused to vanish. Old myths were becoming real again. Stories whispered by alien soldiers about the species that never surrendered. The beings who fought until nothing was left. Now those stories walked again. Inside Helios, the bridge filled with new faces. Survivors had begun to arrive. Small ships docking along the colossal hull. Men and women from lost colonies stepped aboard, wearing mismatched uniforms and carrying broken weapons. They looked tired, thin, but their eyes burned with hope. Lieutenant Mira Hale greeted them personally. "Welcome home," she said softly. One of the newcomers, a young pilot from the Europa colony, stared in awe at the ship's vast corridors. "Is this really human-made?" he asked. Mira smiled. "Every inch of it. Built by hands that believed the stars belonged to us too." They were rebuilding, not just their fleet, but their spirit. Cade gathered his officers in the command chamber. A holographic map appeared, the galaxy once filled with alien symbols, now dotted with rising human signals. "We're not fighting to destroy," he said. "We're fighting to exist. They erased our name once. We make sure no one can do it again." Mira looked at him. "What if they unite again, Admiral? What if the whole galaxy comes for us?" Cade's expression hardened. "Then they will see what unity truly means." He turned to the AI. "Eidolon, transmit the awakening protocol." "Confirmed," said the AI. Project Phoenix activated. Across human outposts and derelict ships, coded signals lit up. Old databases reconnected, engines reignited. The scattered children of Earth, lost for generations, began to find one another again. Hours later, the stars above Helios shimmered with movement. From warp space, dozens of ships appeared, some small, some massive, all bearing the mark of old human fleets. Their hulls were damaged, their systems ancient, but together they formed a sight that no one had seen since the fall of Earth, a human armada. On every ship, voices cried through the comms, "For Earth, for our ancestors, for humanity." The bridge crew of Helios fell silent, overcome with emotion. Mira wiped tears from her eyes. "They actually came." Cade's voice was steady, proud. "They never left. They were waiting like us." As the new fleet aligned beside Helios, Eidolon spoke softly. "Admiral, all systems ready. Humanity stands united." Cade gazed at the vast army before him, ships glowing like scattered suns. Each one carried a story, a legacy, a reason to rise again. He placed his hand over his heart. "For every city they burned, for every voice they silenced, we rise." Helios's engines ignited, flooding space with golden light. The other ships followed, their thrusters forming a brilliant path through the darkness. A new dawn for humankind. Across the galaxy, alien worlds looked to the sky and saw a sight that froze their blood. An entire fleet of human warships flying together, silent but unstoppable. The Galactic Council met in fear once more. Some wanted to surrender, others to attack. But it was already too late. The message had already been sent, and not through words, but through the light that filled the stars. Humanity has returned. Inside Helios, Cade stood at the command deck as Earth's ruined orbit came into view for the first time in centuries. The planet was broken, scarred, lifeless, but its shape still held beauty. He whispered softly, almost to himself, "We will rebuild you." "I swear it," Mira stepped beside him. "You think the galaxy will ever forgive us?" Cade smiled faintly. "They don't have to. They only have to remember." The ship's engines roared one last time, their light spreading across the emptiness like a sunrise after endless night. The legends had returned. Humanity, the dreamers, the warriors, the builders, had awakened again. And this time, the stars belonged to them.